From now.
What's going on? This is Chris Van Vliet, and you're watching Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast.
The Kasanova Podcast, the #1 podcast in Hawaii, is brought to you by these contributors on Patreon. If you'd like to see more content like this more often, as well as more podcast reviews, impressions, early access releases, live streams, and original content, then consider becoming a patron today. Welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova. I'm coming at you with another phenomenal interview, and in today's episode, I've got the honor and the privilege of having my brother, my man, the one, the only, B-Rob of the Random Ramblings with Rob podcast, the 3RShow. And it's such an honor to have him on because B-Rob, he and I, we talk all the time, and our energy, chemistry, just the way we flow when we start talking to each other, especially on the mic. I've been on his podcast, now he's on mine, and it's such a good time. This is honestly, and I know, spoiler alert, I'm going kind of deep into it by saying this and giving you guys a spoiler, but this is honestly one of the best podcasts I think has ever been on this show, because we cover a lot. We cover a number of things. From we talk about the process of creating a podcast, all the inner workings of it. We dive into personal stories, funny stories, sad stories, and more. And it's an entertaining, organic conversation. Now, if you're ready to do it, I'm ready to do it. Let's go ahead and welcome Rob onto the show. So, welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Miguel Kasanova, and I have the honor, the privilege of having the one, the only, the phenomenal, the worldwide known B-Rob of Random Ramblings with Rob. Rob, how's it going, man?
Man, that was some hefty accolades there. I appreciate it.
You know how we do, man. How's it going, man? Tell people where they can find you. Tell them about your show. Plug all your stuff. You got that.
Man, as our gracious host here has alluded to, I am a podcaster, and I host a podcast called the Random Ramblings with Rob. Basically, I speak with random people, and we talk about all manner of things. You could say the conversation can get a little random. So you can find me and follow me on social media at 3RShow on Twitter, at 3RShow. And you can find me on Instagram at the 3RShow. Because before I get into my little diatribe right here, is the foul language allowed?
Dude, you can say whatever you
Okay.
can say whatever the fuck you want to say.
We got a on goddamn Instagram that has that freaking username 3RShow. I try to associate, if you're a content creator, it's a branding thing. You want all your shit to be the same so everybody can find you and make it goddamn easy. So they got some punk motherfucker on Instagram that has at 3RShow, and that bitch ain't posted since goddamn September 26, 2017. That date is forever etched in my brain, and it pisses me off every time I think about it, because my wife's birthday in September, our anniversary is in September, and this punk motherfucker hadn't posted since September 26, goddamn 2017. But anyway, you can also follow me on Facebook, or like my page and whatnot. You go to facebook.com/3RShow, and you can find anything that I may have missed on randomrob.com.
All right. And people, Rob and I are good friends. I've been on his show before. He has a damn good show, which you should go and check out. He let me be a little unfiltered and say some things, because I was feeling some kind of way last year when I left my old job, and so
my podcast is a safe haven. It's for people to come and vent their frustrations, air out their grievances. I mean, I'm all for that, because sometimes we don't have anybody in the real world to do that with, or someone that we can trust so much to let that burden out to.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the thing too, is like it's actually something that I've been for the last, like, literally, I think that was the first one I posted on Twitter and Instagram not too long ago, but I've been talking about this on Facebook about how, like, being a creator, be it a podcaster, a YouTuber, a streamer, a musician, a singer, an artist, it doesn't matter what you are. It's hard to get that, that support, the people to, having somebody to talk to, someone to come through. And also the biggest thing is like the respect, because a lot of motherfuckers just don't have respect.
Yeah.
Like I'm having so many people just telling me, they're like, oh, what is it you do? Oh, you just play video games. That's all you do. Like I got this expert motherfucker over here that gave me some expert, highly qualified advice. It's almost like they read my post. They read like one line of it, and then they were instantly in the comment section just telling me how, oh, well, you need to go and you need to hop on Star Wars. That's the trending thing. And they said they have a background in marketing, and I need to go and do this. And, if I stopped talking about video games all the time, they would be interested. And I'm like, wait, my podcast has never just been about video games. But, but it's funny because people, where you are, just don't fuck with you like that.
Yeah. And what I find funny is, I guess it's condescending or whatever you want to call it, is just when certain people, they're just trying to be cordial and nice and everything, and they know you do something of this nature, podcasting or doing YouTube or streaming or whatever it is that you do, and they're like, oh, you still do your little podcast?
Oh God.
You still do your little podcast? What the fuck you mean little podcast? Like I'm a 5-year-old or something. Like I'm on the corner selling Girl Scout cookies or some, peddling chocolates and shit for a fundraiser or some shit,
Right?
but
have you noticed this though? But if it's a celebrity, without any hesitation, they'll support, they'll like, they'll share. But if it's you, it's like, no, I'm not interested in what you're doing. Yeah, but you're not interested in what the motherfucker is doing either. But it's a celebrity, they get that pass. Okay.
Yeah, I won't put that on every celebrity, but I agree with what you're saying. It's just like, we are the independents, we're not on that level yet. I always got to put yet on there, because I mean, something will come of this, whether it be, a highly acclaimed podcast or the podcast itself leading to other opportunities. Something will come of this with consistency and just, sticking to it. But it's just, these motherfuckers, they come from up high and they come down to where we at and be like, excuse me, just slide on over. Let me get in here real quick and get some of this podcast time and shit. And I'm just like, why? And some of them are actually good. You can't knock them from putting out a good product or whatever. But it was just like, I talked with Brian Oteka or whatever on my first YouTube interview or whatever. And he was just like, he broke it down to where it's just like, he has a team behind him, whoever you're talking about celebrity wise, or they have people behind them. They have people paying them for their time to sit there because they are a celebrity. Then they have a producer. They got an engineer. They got a somebody writing notes for them or pulling the hot stories off the internet to feed in their ear, because some of them wear earpieces, like, just like wrestling and shit. They get the word from the back, and they're just there. They're the puppet, and everybody around them is pulling the strings, and he just like dancing and shit, or she, or whoever you listen to. But I sit here every fucking week, or whenever I got a goddamn interview, I prep my equipment. I goddamn do my sound checks. I'm the editor. I'm the engineer. I'm the producer, and it's all solely on me, and I don't get, nothing for that. and it's just this motherfucker from Hollywood just like, hey, podcast. Don't even say nothing else about it. Like, I'm doing one, I'm gonna be on one. You can just say podcast, and the fucking world will fucking implode, explode, goddamn spirit bomb, hit you in the motherfucking face, and it's over.
No, it's so true though, man. Like I see so many people. Like a lot of people like to say, oh, well, I listen to podcasts. I'm like, okay, what podcast do you listen to? Oh, Joe Rogan. Nothing wrong with that, but he ain't the only person out there doing podcasts.
Yeah. And then that's the thing too. We're human beings. We have the freedom of choice or whatever. I mean, can we genuinely be mad because someone chooses to listen to Joe Rogan and not either you or me?
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a gripe from somebody that's like, we putting so much work into this shit and trying so fucking hard, and somebody can just come in with the ease of, and they fucking all over the goddamn place. Because I've seen people on our level that do phenomenal work. I believe these people, if given the right opportunity, they can be on TV and doing their show live in front of people and traveling and doing all kinds of shit, man. But nobody want to take that chance on them. So, here we are, the independents, taking chances on ourselves, spending our own money and just doing the song and dance, trying to get, Patreon and people to buy merch and shit so we can support the show. So they giving to us so we can in turn give back to them, and that's crazy. I mean, it's crazy in a bad way, but just the whole rigmarole of the goddamn thing.
Yeah, and I've seen some people say that, like, for if you're doing content or podcast or YouTube or anything like that, like you shouldn't have a Patreon or ask for people to support. And I'm like, if you're providing a product, you're providing something that people can consume through content, which what we do as podcasters, I mean, hell, even as YouTubers, it reaches around the world. Yeah. So, maybe there's something that we say on a podcast or we do in a video that just reaches out and touches someone, and, in a way that maybe it takes them off the edge of, doing something dire, or maybe it inspires them to go and do something. Yeah. Like, you just never know. And there's nothing wrong with us, seeking some type of,
compensation.
Yeah.
And I've said it many a times. I mean, I have a Patreon, I have merchandise, I have all those things to try to generate revenue. But if nobody buys it, I mean, it kind of stings a tad bit, but none of that, controls me. I'm wearing my freaking random beanie. I'm wearing my freaking Panda Express shirt, which you can find on randomrob.com/merch. And, but if nobody bought a single thing, nobody supported on Patreon or whatever, that doesn't matter to me, because I'm going to continue to do this because this is what I personally enjoy. I like talking to, the host of Hawaii's #1 podcast, whenever I get a chance or whatever, not in front of the camera via DM or, all kinds of messages or whatever, because, we talk, we're not here for show. But I mean, I got to meet so many people. I got so many, great opportunities because I do this and I enjoy doing this. I put my money into this every month. I've even freaking tried to, make this into a business so it can sustain and support itself, because that's all I really want. If people bought enough t-shirts or they did enough for the Patreon just so the show can cover its own fees, that's all I really want. That's all I really want. Take care of the hosting fees that come with podcasting, take care of the freaking the website. And just, if I get selected to go to a convention or something, I'm gonna need gas to get there so I can be there to meet the people in person and, bring them more content or, just do something different for the show. Yeah. So that's all I really want, for the show to support itself.
Yeah. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. When I've had people tell me about how it's wrong, and I'm like, yeah, but if you like, let's use wrestling as an example.
Yeah.
Wrestlers get money from merch.
Mm-hmm.
And Right? You know, and I asked everyone, this one person, I'm like, okay, so you watch wrestling, right? And they're like, yeah, I watch wrestling. Okay, cool. You buy their merch, you buy the t-shirts, you buy, you know, the belts and all that. Yeah, I buy all that. You know, that goes back to the wrestler, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what's the correlation? I said, I have merch, I have different things. So why is it an issue for me, but it's not for them?
Yeah.
Is it because it's me?
Yeah. And that goes back to us, the independent versus the celebrity. The
Yeah.
person that they see on national TV every freaking week doing what they do, you know, getting recognized on Sports Center, ESPN, and all these other wide variety of media outlets. And here we are in the bottom, in the shadows and shit, just trying to, you know, make our way to that level one day, you know?
Yeah.
So, because I sell, you know, snapbacks and hats and stuff on my website, randomrob.com/merch, and price them at $35. And people like, God damn, that's kind of high or whatever, right? But this is what you don't realize. You see that $35 price, but I mean, I get a percentage of that. I don't get all of that because I'm not manufacturing and making and shipping it myself. I had to go through a third party provider because I don't have the physical capabilities to manufacture this merchandise on my own. You know, if I had the means to do it myself, I would do it myself. That way the prices can be lower and, you know, it'll be more affordable and whatnot. And then at the same time, I'm like, I feel like the merch that I produce is on the level of a New Era hat or some shit like that. You know, people have told me that. I was like, but yeah, my shit $35, but a New Era is more than $35, and motherfuckers buy New Era like it's religion. You know, I was like, and then you feeding the corporation and the company. I mean, I'm just little old Rob here trying to daggone pay my podcasting bills every month, you know? So, I mean, that's the difference. Because look, you can go buy a Nike hat right now, 45 fucking dollars, and that's going to Nike and Nike alone, and then it might get split off to they sponsored people or whatever, but they getting a fraction of what Nike gets off the top, you know. So I mean, you feeding the whole Nike corporation, and it trickles down in, you know, little raindrops or whatever. But you buy something from us, you know, the independents, and that goes directly to us, and it goes in turn back to you because we're able to free up more time, get more equipment, and do all this stuff to create more content.
Yeah. So yeah, people, that's some of the inside stuff that a lot of people, you know, a lot of people don't speak on, or a lot of people may not even know about. But when you buy merch, like, I mean, I've got t-shirts anywhere from $21 up to like 30, 35, and I've got not beanies, sweaters, like pullovers. They're like 45. And like, if you buy it, I don't get that total back. I get a percentage of that. So if you buy like this shirt at the $21 price, I probably get like $4 back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing about it. I mean, anybody can do this if, you know, if we had the means to do it physically ourselves. And I could do it on a low level. I mean, like this shirt right here that I'm wearing, the panda shirt, you know, that's a third party person or whatever. I drew the design myself, but they print it on shirts, they box it up, and they ship it to wherever it need to go. Now I can do it myself on a smaller level, but it won't look this damn fly. So, I mean, it'll just, I mean, you've seen some of the stuff I did on Instagram. It's just like one color and it's just, you know, basic shit. That's what I could do on my level.
It's just one of those things, people. But, you know, the biggest thing we want to drive home to you guys is, you know, your support matters. You know, if it's merch, if it's hitting the like button, if it's sharing, you know, if it's leaving a rating, which, look, as podcasters, if you listen to our podcast, please leave that rating, leave that review. That goes a long way.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke a little bit on algorithms on the Rebel Radio podcast and whatnot, and people like, well, I mean, it doesn't matter about the reviews or whatever, it ain't gonna bump your podcast up. It's like, well, I mean, it'll make it more favored in the search column. So like there's buku podcasts that start with the word random, as does mine. But, you know, with more reviews and people downloads and shares and all kind of stuff, whenever you type in random, mine's more likely to pop up above other people, because of those reviews and likes and shares and all kind of stuff like that. So
speaking of which, you're almost at
100,
right?
Yes, I am at 88. I am 12 away from reaching 100. That was a goal I set back in, I think, November, December, to try to reach 100 Apple iTunes or podcast reviews by March 29th, which is my birthday. So that's you don't have to pay anything for that. That is your birthday gift to me. I want 100 reviews. I mean, you don't have to stop at 100. You can keep going, but I mean, that's more, in the meantime.
Man, I'm over here. I'm just trying to get to 50.
Yeah. And there's a lot to go into that too, because when I started this campaign, I was at 53. I was at 53. And the way I got to 53 is freaking out, going out there and shaking babies and kissing hands, getting with, because I mean, podcasters, this is a support group. I mean, podcasters support podcasters. So a podcast come to you, be like, hey man, write me a review, and I write you a review. Cool, we can do that. So you do that a couple times, and then just people out of the goodness of their heart, without even prompting or asking them, they'll write you a review. So I mean, you get a couple here and there, but that was pretty much a bulk of the game. Was like, new podcasts will pop up like 5 episodes deep. I'm like, hey man, I write you a review, you write me a review. All right. Or someone come to me, I'll write you a review, you write me a review. And we just swap back and forth and whatnot. I mean, I don't think it's gaming the system or anything like that. I don't think that's cheating. I mean, it's just people networking, because anything that you do to where you create content or you produce something for the mass majority, you need to network. You need to have some kind of support system in the background. And that's what we're building here by doing these reviews and stuff.
Yeah, it's very important, and that's one of the things too. Like I try to tell people all the time, like the imperativeness of being not being a podcaster, but of networking, no matter what you do. Like it opens so many doors. Like if you're a podcaster, you network, you might end up getting to interview certain people. You might, you never know. Like I look at like your show. And dude, you've had some heavy hitters on there, man. You've had Michael J. White. You had our friend Chris Van Vliet.
Yeah.
You've had Brian Cage.
Yeah.
My man, go ahead, brag, dude.
And and with those things right there, those names that you named off and whatnot, I didn't do anything special, because they're not hiding, they're not hoarding, they're not trying to. They're not trying to, I can't, they're not hiding, and they're not trying to not get interviewed. If that makes sense. I walk around to try to get it to come out. You can go to Chris Van Vliet's Instagram. His email address is there.
Yeah. You
click freaking contact, the email will pop up. I think he even got a fucking phone number on there. All I did, because I mean, email is my jam, even though it's the most modern of technologies, but it's the most ancient of technologies at the same time. Most likely a motherfucker should go to spam or some shit, or they'll see it, you got the wrong kind of subject line, which is important. They'll be like, whatever, spam, throw it away, trash. But that's what I did. I found him, I think a year or so ago, just going through YouTube, and he was interviewing Dolph Ziggler. I like Dolph Ziggler, so I listened to the conversation. I was like, that dude sounds like a cool guy. I would like to try to talk to him. Went to his Instagram, found his email, sent him an email. He responded, got him on the show. It was that simple. I didn't do any trickery. I didn't fucking feed his Patreon, because he doesn't have one. But I can do, it's not hidden. The information is there. With the Michael J. White interview, I heard him on 2 other podcasts that I know, that I personally listen to, and I know the people who do that show. So I was like, well, goddamn, if they got him on their show, why the fuck I can't have him on mine? So that's where the networking come in. These people interviewed him, so I asked them, what did they do? He has a production company called Gigantic Pictures, and they emailed his representative. The representative got back to them. They scheduled the interview, and that's how it happened. So I got the email from Gigantic Pictures, which, I mean, it's public knowledge. It's not hidden. Found contact us, sent the email. They responded back to me. It was about a month later. Scheduled the interview. Boom, there it was.
Yeah,
it's no trickery. It's no tomfoolery here. It's just that simple. I mean, but the thing is like, I'm a Southern gentleman. I was born in the great state of Louisiana, and we got the Southern hospitality. You know, we're raised with manners down here, and I take it somewhat as a disrespect to where if I take my time to craft you any type of correspondence, I expect a response, even if it's to say no, or you can't, or maybe, or whatever the fuck. If I took my time to send you something, I expect you to take, you know, a fraction of a bit of a time just to say, tell me no, if that's the answer, or you can't, either or. But, you know, and then on the other side, you know, fuck how I was raised, you know, people are busy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just that time too. Cause I mean, I've sent many of emails that I fucking forgot about. And then they hit me back months later. Oh yeah, I want to do your show. I was like, oh shit, I don't forgot who this is. And that's where the subject line comes in handy, because you try to remember all these emails that you send out, and you try to remember the people by the unique email thing and whatnot. And you forget who the fuck you email because you emailing so many goddamn people. So that's why on the subject line, it's a podcast interview / the person's name. So I don't fucking forget who I goddamn email anymore. Because the dude hit me up. He's like, yeah, man, I want to do your show. You know, I could do it this day, this day, this day. I was like, all right, cool. Who the fuck is this? And I didn't ask him that, but I had to go back and go through all these profiles that I looked at and press the contact us and try to find the email to match the email that I sent the email to. And I was like, okay, it was, all right, it's this guy. All right, cool. Because, I mean, shit. That's a horrible situation to put yourself in. You done linked up the call, and here we are in the lobby and shit, and getting ready to talk. And it's like, who is this again? Because everybody don't do video.
Yeah, they don't.
So I'm trying to recognize the voice, and I was like, this a telltale sign. If I ever find myself in that situation, because I think I did it once, but it wasn't on the podcast. It was somewhere else. I was like, tell everybody your name and what you do. I don't know who you are, and I fucking forgot.
Yo, the Rogue in the chat, he said that's like when your Tinder date gets back in touch with you and you be like, who the fuck is you?
Yeah, you know, swipe right so many thousands of times and shit.
Yeah, real okay. So real talk. Back when I was younger and I was single, I
Oh shit! I didn't even see we had a chat. My bad. I'm behind the curve. I should.
Bro, I used to play a numbers game where I would get girls' numbers, and then when I'm bored, I would just be texting chicks, and then they would be hitting me back, and I'm over here like, yo, I don't even remember what the fuck she looks like. And then sometimes I would have the number and that had no name, and I'm just texting them.
I have had many conversations with women that I thought that were other women, but I was able to turn it around and make it seem like I was talking to them. Because it was the same way. I was a single man and doing single man things and whatnot, collecting those numbers and whatnot. And it was more like, because I was born before social media was a big thing. So I got to grow as social media grew. So I got to see it start, and then I grew with it. So at the time, I was speaking people through Messenger and freaking chat rooms and all kind of shit like that. So I would know that person by their chat name, not their actual name. So is this Cherry 187 or Miss Elite freaking 2286? You know, I'm trying to piece it together. I was like, oh shit. There was one time that I met a girl and we was going to meet up, and I was living in North Carolina and she lived in Raleigh, so it was like an hour and a half drive or whatnot. You know, it was the weekend. I was single man, I didn't give a fuck. So I drove an hour and a half, got a hotel room, and I'm waiting for them to come up. And the whole time I'm like, I don't even know this motherfucking name. Like for real. She may have told me, but I don't know her actual name. And I feel like that would be rude as fuck to call her by like a freaking MySpace, a Yahoo name or whatever the fuck it was. And the only reason I figured out what her real name was because she came with a friend. And that's smart because I'm a stranger that you met on the internet that you're going to meet at a hotel room. So yeah, bring the friend. I understand that, you know. And so she get in the room and the only reason I figured out her name was because she referenced herself in third person. And because she was talking about the situation at work, and she's like, who ain't about to do that? Ashley, should not her. I was like, oh shit, that's your name. So that's how I figured it out. All by random coincidence.
Oh man, what I used to do, I'm also pre social media age. So back when, so you remember back when we had to do text messages and they were like 10 cents a text or something like that.
Oh boy,
bruh. Or remember back when it was like, don't call me until after 9 o'clock.
Oh man, oh shit. I thought I was high class because I got that shit. I paid a little extra and I can talk after 7 o'clock. So I thought I was high class.
Bro, it was rough back then. I'm like, I can't. They'd be like, oh, you want to talk? No. I'm busy till 9. Call me back after 9 or text me after 9. Because for the younger cats and may not have been around, or you were there, or maybe you were a thought in somebody's imagination, or you were still a sperm somewhere in your daddy's ball sack. There was a time when you did not have internet on your phone. There was a time when there was a time, and Desiree, thank you for bringing that up in the chat. Beepers. I remember having beepers and pagers.
Oh boy. Yeah, I would text boobs. Like 8008S. 5. And then you can do go to hell and 1-on-1. That was like when it's freaky time. I text 1-on-1. Freaking, how pages work.
Yeah.
You had one, so I know you know how it worked.
What's so funny is at my last job at the hospital, they gave me a pager and I looked at it. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? They're like, oh, in case of an emergency, why can't you just call me? I'm like, dude, you know how many times I would set that pager down and just be like, they're like, oh, where's your pager? Oh, I don't know.
Man, what it is what was it? You ever been catfished? Oh yeah, eyes got
see, what had happened was
So yeah, I've been catfished many a times because, like I said, it was the dawn of a new era for us. The internet was just sprouting out, and we was communicating with people from across the world and the state, and in our local areas and whatnot, and trying to get freaky because that's all forms of entertainment is stemmed around sex. So people are making new TVs for 8K and all kind of other crazy shit just so they can watch better porn. People are making VR and everything so they can have sex in 3D spaces. Goddamn, anything that you can think of for your entertainment is revolving around porn somehow. I'm telling you, that's what it is. They got people, when that VR shit was popping, they had people that was doing mods to where you can fuck a machine while you got the headset on. So, and it was made in the VR world. Damn, it was like a virtual person and shit, and you got this thing strapped to your penis and it's gyrating and doing all this other crazy shit, and you think you're fucking a real person. So yeah,
it's so true. Everything
revolves around sex. But speaking of sex, so I meet this girl, and this how I got catfish. She posted pictures on a MySpace profile, but the pictures wasn't labeled as, oh, this is me in high school, or this is me before I had my kid, things of that nature, whatever. So what I'm seeing in real time on the MySpace profile is what I'm thinking I'm talking to on the phone. And then this person had a certain impairment. And I mean, nothing bad, not a mental handicap or anything like that. It was a speech, a slur, which they masked when we first started talking. So she would say my name, my government name, and the way she said it, it sounded like it got me going, So I told her that once, and she would do that to me on purpose. And we talk hella game on freaking MySpace and on the phone and all kind of crazy shit. And then one day she was like, I want to meet up. No problem. She's like, but I don't have a car. No problem. And at the time, I was a single dad with 2 itty bitty kids, like toddlers and shit. One was in diapers and one was like walking and shit. So she had a kid. So that kind of was the thing. So, all right, you can bring your kids and they can play with my kids and we can play with each other. So I drive to where she is, which was like 35, 40 minutes away, to get her, to bring her 35, 45 minutes back to my place. So we get there, and pre-cell phones, I didn't have one. I just came back from a deployment not too long before that too. So no cell phone. I had to stop at the payphone outside the gas station.
People don't even know what payphones are nowadays, man.
I seen one within the last 2 years, and it blew my motherfucking mind. I was like, shit. I took pictures by it and everything. So I pull up to the gas station. I call her. I was like, hey, I'm here. I'm at this gas station. She's like, I know. What the fuck you mean, you know? And then I'm looking around like, am I being set up? Got my kids in the car. I'm gonna have to shoot somebody. Damn, I'm looking in the gas station through the window. Dude is behind the counter laughing. She's like, yeah, my cousin work at the gas station. What the fuck? So she got motherfuckers peeping out for me and shit. I mean, it was a small town, 30, 45 minutes away from where I was. So, big ass Fred Sanford truck roll up. And then because I parked, you pull into the parking lot, the building is there, payphone is there, but I parked on the other side of the parking lot, away from the place. So I'm by my car. Fred Sanford ass truck pull up in, and door swing open, foot hit the ground, and the truck raised up. I'm like, oh, I was like, who is that? I said, that's a big girl.
Damn.
She turned around, I see the face. I was like, oh, it's you. I mean, I didn't say that out loud, but in my head. And
you didn't say that out loud?
Yeah, I was like, oh, hey. Then she pulled the baby seat with her kid out the back of the car because she had a younger child. And now I got 3 car seats in the back of my 99 Pontiac Grand Am. So if you don't know how small that car is, look it up. And this big girl in the front seat, because I mean, I got to follow through because I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm gonna do some shit, I'm gonna do it. I was gonna tear some ass up, and that's what I came to goddamn do, regardless of the what I was seeing at the time. And then I was single and I didn't give a fuck. So drove 45 minutes all the way back to the motherfucking house. Kids playing around, tucking themselves out. They took a nap. And then we just sitting on the couch, shoulder to shoulder, because I mean, she took up a lot of the couch. And we was like ha ha he, and I was like the fake laugh, like ooh boy. And I flopped my hand down, and it fell on her thigh. And she had like a sundress on. The nerve to have a sundress on. And I was like, upper thigh, I ain't feeling no draws. And I was like, you ain't got no draws on? She's like, nope. I was like, all right. So I go in the kitchen, and in the back of the freezer, I had a bottle of Bacardi Limon. Chugged up, and then it went down. I tussled with her ass, and then I had to drive 45 minutes back to her place and drop off. And then she was like calling and texting and all kind of stuff. Well, not texting, but calling and everything like that. And she would leave me voicemails. And that's when I caught the lisp. She would start saying my name like she used to say before, and the lisp started coming out because I guess she got comfortable because I beat cheeks and whatnot. But I just kept avoiding it. I was like, I'm going to change up my account and just like block. And yeah, because you catfish me. You can't build trust and relationships on a bed of deceit. I mean, you can build some cheeks on a bed of sheets, but not on a bed of deceit.
Oh, God.
So I know we live right now, and I know this is probably going to be highly unprofessional, but my wife is texting and calling me with an emergency, so I need to go downstairs real quick and handle some adult things.
Go for it. I will hold it down.
Hold it down. You in the chat, the best cheeks. Yeah, who said that? Rashad in Elemental P, all the numbers behind your name. Yeah, it was the best cheeks. I'm not gonna lie. The Bacardi Limon, helped me out. Trying to tussle with that thing because it was like a waterbed because I got on top, and she was a big girl, so I'm like I'm levitating above her. Like, I'm riding this thing, like, yeah.
I'm talking about my catfish story.
Oh man, how you gonna tell some shit when I'm gone?
So basically, it's this chick, right? So I found on Tinder. This is years ago, and she was super like her pics was fine. Like she's banging body. She was cute in face, thick in the waist.
I was about to say that.
And then like we went from messaging on Tinder to texting and all this other stuff. And then when I met her in person, I went to go meet her at her hotel room. And I saw her and she walked up, she said, "Hey, Mekel." She's walking up to me and I'm like, "Hi,
who are you?
Who are you?"
Explain who I think you is.
You damn sure wasn't. Let's see. So in her picture, she looked like she's about 130, 140. Lo and behold, those pictures weren't nothing from recent.
See, that's what I'm saying. The goddamn deceit. I had the nerve because we didn't have the good camera phones then. I had a camera, like a legit camera, digital camera, and when I took pictures, it would put the date and timestamp on the bottom of the picture. So I would post that purposefully, so they know it's a recent goddamn picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, you lying to you deceitful bastards,
right? So I ended up, she's like, we're at the bar at the hotel, and I'm over here like, am I about to take one for the team or am I about to bail? I'm like, okay. So she's like she's getting drinks, and then we're drinking, and I'm like, this is not getting better. Like these drinks are not making it better for me.
Yeah. Missy Elliott, I don't know what she was drinking in that. Don't I look like a Halle Berry poster? See the Belvedere playing tricks on you.
Right.
You needed Belvedere. That's the key ingredient.
Right. She was like a good 250, 260.
Sheesh.
She was like twice, 2 or 3 times my size. I was twig, bro.
Dog, you should have daggone went to McDonald's, plumped up, man. You could have got you an Xbox 360. There you go. Pump them numbers up, damn it.
So we went up to the hotel room, and then she turns on the music, and then she takes off her robe,
boy,
and ain't nothing on. And then she's like, she told me, she's like, if we do this, you gonna be a daddy. And I was like,
what?
I said, hold on. I said, let me run to the bathroom real quick. She's like, all right, I'll be over outside. No, she said, I'll be in because that hotel, each room had its own little like jacuzzi like thing.
Tell me you climbed out the window.
No, so when she went over there, I went like I was going to the bathroom, and in the back of my head, I'm like, abort. So I opened the door. Dude, I booked it. I flew down the hallway. I got to the elevator. I was punching the damn buttons.
It's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
And then the elevator didn't come. And then she opened the door. She's like, "Where are you going?" And I ran. I'm like, "Where's the fire escape?"
I'm going to get some ice. You forgot the bucket. I'll put it in my hoodie. Fuck it.
Bruh, I blocked the number.
Oh,
I blocked her on all social media. I stopped going out to certain places I thought I would find her. I'm like, that's a trap. It was funny though when she said like you're gonna be a daddy. I left the other part out because the other thing that she had said was like the because she had just had a kid too.
Oh boy, I've been there.
and she said, I said this to the last dude. He didn't believe me, and then 9 months later, I'm like,
So check it out. I was reckless as a single man and I'll tell you why. Because at that time in my life, so I joined the military right out of high school, and before leaving to go to boot camp, I got my first wife pregnant. You know, my girlfriend, I knocked her up. And I could say that was a planned pregnancy because like I was in them guts and like I got lazy, I got complacent, and I was like, "You gonna have my baby?" She's like, "Yeah." It was a planned pregnancy, you know, it wasn't a mistake. I came here to serve a purpose. But so I knocked her up. And she took me, you know, I joined the military, I went to boot camp and everything, you know. And shortly after, when I finished, I came back. We got married and everything. And then I moved her up to where I was stationed in North Carolina. And then, you know, 9/11 happened. So, you know, for real, I thought I was going to die because, I mean, they flew planes into the World Trade Centers and shit. And they're going to send us to freaking, Iraq and all these other places. I was like, dog, no shit. I thought I was going to die. So I was like, I need to have a son. You know, the one that I was just yelling at before I got on this goddamn podcast because the motherfucker didn't do the shit that I asked him to do before I got home. But anyway, so I knocked her up and then I leave again. That seems to be the pattern with my older two. You know, I knock her up and then I leave to go do some other shit. So I knock her up and then I leave to go train because they're going to deploy us because of 9/11. So my son is born and I get to spend 12 days with him after he's born and then on a plane to freaking Iraq, you know, fuck up some bad guys and shit, right? So
they call you a serial knocker upper.
I'm a habitual uterus stepper. But so I go over there and I chalk all this up to us being young and the certain situations that we were in life at the time, because while I was gone, you know, she was doing shit that she wasn't supposed to do, you know, adultery style and whatnot. So while I'm gone, she got knocked up by another dude. So
what?
Yeah, crazy, right? You know, I can't make this shit up. So she get knocked up by some other guy and whatnot. And then I came back and that was it. Kaput. You know, we're done. So, because of that whole situation, I mean, it's not that simple because I mean, there's more to it than that. You know, there's a whole bunch of shit before all this happened. You know, it wouldn't just poof. This one instance, she got knocked up with somebody else, and no, it's a whole bunch of shit before that happened. You know, and I chalk it up to us being young and inexperienced, and you know that's what it is. So you have a child, a teenager, your kid, that they stay with you from, you know, the time that they're born all the way up until they graduate high school, and that's all they know. So once they get their own things, their own stuff or whatever, they want to experience that life. They want to go out and party and hang out all night or whatever, because that's not something that was allowed as a child. You know, now they're an adult, they're on their own. So I went straight into family mode at 18 years old, you know, because I got this girl pregnant. I'm from a military family. I know what the lifestyle's like, and that's what I wanted to provide for this child. So I automatically went into that wholeheartedly, and she wasn't about that. She wanted to do teenage shit. She wanted to do child shit and go to the clubs and do all this other stuff, So all that lead up to this point where I'm deployed, getting shot at, dropping mortars on me and shit and all kind of other crazy shit in Iraq. And she back there spending my deployment money, fucking around with another dude, getting knocked up and shit. So all that coupled with how many times I could have fucking died in Iraq, to come back to this shit, her with a fucking belly forming already. And I was like, I know my dick ain't that long. I didn't do this before from over there. And I was like, well, fuck. So I don't have her in my life no more. I don't have to worry about all that. And now I get to do the things now as a 21-year-old coming back from the deployment. Like, I never got to experience that stuff. I never got to go out to the clubs. I never got to party and everything because I was always trying to be with the kids, going to work and doing all this other stuff for the family. So now I have this freeing opportunity to go out and be my own person, my own adult. So because of all those things I just mentioned, I was fucking reckless. I did not give a fuck. My standards were so low that I would trip over them on a daily basis. Because I looked at it this way. It's like, I could have died and never got another piece of pussy again. Never. So if the pussy presented itself to me, I didn't really care too much what it was attached to. I just knew I wanted some of that stuff. So I didn't give a fuck. I would go to the club. I'd get drunk off my ass, and whatever Gila monster roll up from under the freaking dance floor, that's what I was taking home. I didn't give a fuck. I protected myself. So, I wasn't trying to knock up somebody. I wasn't trying to be that habitual uterus stepper again, like I was somebody mentioned in the chat, but I didn't care. So you was talking about the girl that catfished you, but that reminded me of another story to where I went to the club.
Go for it.
And I wasn't coming off nothing. I wouldn't, the people that I was seeking out or whatever, I got a couple dances and everything, but I couldn't, close on the number or some, whatever. So it was the golden hour to where they like doing last call and everything. The club lights about to come on. They're about to shut this shit down. So on the second level by the VIP, I see this big girl, Gila monster, and she kind of making eye contact with me from the upstairs and whatnot. And so I keep that in the back of my mind. I keep that in my back pocket in case something don't fall through. So, people leaving the club, lights getting ready to come on, and she come by me and she just like dancing a couple feet away from me, just dancing by herself, twerking and shit, which was weird because she was wide as she was tall. So in my infinite wisdom, in my inebriated state, I was just like, don't fuck around and let me take you home. And she was like, well, come on then. So this was my convenient setup. There was a club that we would always go to, and it was conveniently a block away, literally, from where my friend stayed. So we would go to the friend's house, get drunk at the house, walk to the club and party. Fuck around, get drunk in the club, then, walk back to their place because it's that damn close. But this night, I don't know why, I drove my car and it was in the parking lot. And I done told this big bitch to come home. And she's like, let's do it. And this is how I knew she was a goddamn professional. She went to her friend's car, pulled out an overnight bag and threw it in the trunk of my car. So she was ready about that action, before she even met me. So even though I was inebriated, and whoever's listening, I was very wrong. I was young. I was reckless. I was irresponsible. I was immature. You should never drive drunk. I don't care how, well you think you have it together. You really don't. And if you would have got pulled over for any reason whatsoever, you would have been in the wrong. So that's me speaking from a more sophisticated and mature age, to my younger self. So we drive back to my place, and I lived in military housing because I have kids. I'm single. I'm single with kids. So I had them to babysit while I took big girl back to the house. But I didn't want her to know where I lived. So bare bones. You go in through the front gate, you pass the entry point, you take a left, go 3 blocks down. My house was on the left. So when I brought her there, I went straight. I went to the right. I went down the block. I came back around the park. I went up again. Then I came down. Then I went left. Then I went right. Then I came to my house because I didn't want her to remember how the fuck she got here. You know? So I was cognizant enough to do that. And then, the festivities began and we did all the things and toward the night. I woke up the next morning and I was so used to the, dress and run to where I woke up, I looked around and I was getting dressed. She's like, where you going? I was like, fuck, this is my house. I was like, how the fuck I'm gonna leave? I live here. I was like, I was that, throwed off in the brain because I was used to going to other people's house, beat and dash, but I was at my own place and I couldn't, where the fuck I'm gonna go? So the girl that was babysitting my kids, I texted her and told her to call me. So she called me. And I was like, oh, Corporal Robinson, how you doing? Yeah. Oh shit, I forgot. I'll be there as quick as I can. That was a distress call. So I told her, hey man, I forgot. I missed out on some shit. I need to go to work and everything. And get your shit. Let's get the fuck out of here. So that was the most awkward ride because I had to take this motherfucker home. There was no Uber and everything, and I was too cheap to pay for a motherfucking taxi. So yeah. Had to ride in the car with a big ass all the way out into the country because Jacksonville, North Carolina is bullshit. Took a big ass home and she got out the car. She's like, if you ever go out again, you got my number. You hit me up. I said, I have your number. I don't have your number. I'm saying that in my head. I ain't saying that out loud. Never seen that again. So, and we didn't have that variety of clubs, like other places. That was like the main spot. So I seen her in there again and she just like, she gave me the, like, let me know she was ready just in case. But that was her thing. I mean, she was for everybody. She didn't take it personal that I didn't call her back because she knew what her purpose was. So, yeah, the ride of shame. You are
dude. I've got some story. Man, this whole thing just turned into like, man, this is what happened back in the day. Yes. So I had this one time where
band camp.
I know, right? So I had this whole situation back in the day. Like I used to go to this club called Zanzibar that we used to have down in Waikiki.
Oh no, this is funny.
Go for it.
This is what I remember from my youth. When I was we had a graduation for preschool and we did like letters of the alphabet and I was the letter Z. And my line to say in the play was Z zooms to Zanzibar. We were meant to talk, man. Just because of that fact right there.
Oh my goodness. So what happened was, what had happened was
what had happened. That should be a shirt, dog.
I know, right? I need to put that on there. Like, so, yeah. So we used
in front of your desk, like a silhouette of you sitting in front of your desk, in front of your microphone, and be like, what had happened was.
So I used to go in there, and bro, I used to like before I got to the point where, and this is after I got game because there was a point where I was just like the nerdy kid in college, and I didn't have no guile of game, and then I'd teach myself, and once I taught myself, I became an area motherfucker. I'm like, man, I'm going, what? She over there? What? She fine? They're like, oh man, that girl's fine, man. So you ain't got a chance. All right, take you up on that. Right? I got to the point like where I had a crew. And we would just wild out. Like Rashad, who was in here earlier, he used to be part of that crew, so he knows what I'm talking about. We used to be buck wild. Like we go in, it'd be like 4 or 5 of us. We go in, we just like stand by the dance floor, look around. We see the shorties, and if they come around, boom, like, nah, we got them.
Yeah.
And I had this one time, well, one of many times. At one time, I almost got kidnapped. But
oh boy.
I had this one time where I went in and my homie Ferguson, he was drunk as fuck, and he's like, man, I don't care what she look like. I just want to smash, homie. I just came back. So I don't care. I'm like, all right, well, there's 2 over there. He's like, which one you want? I'm like, I'll take the one on the right. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go get the one on the left. And he walks right. And they're older. I think because me and Ferg at the time, we were like 22, 23, and they were like late 20s or early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And they just started talking. He was just talking to the girl, and they're from Australia. Man, I'm gonna tell you this: Australian girls are so easy.
Oh, wait. Shout outs to Australia.
For real, like literally had to do nothing. So we were. So we started. He's talking to the one chick. He's talking to the butt ugly one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, well, you got her out the way. So I'm talking to the other one. The other one, I can't tell if she's thick or fat because she's wearing like baggy ass clothes, right?
That might be an indicator of the fatness,
right? So I'm like, I don't know what, like, is she baggy? Is she just fat? I'm like, I don't know, but she got a cute face, so she I'm like, damn.
Well, those are the best, you know. Big old girl with a cute face, man. I'll tell you what,
right? Just had that smile, and then she had, you know, the thick lips, and she had that Australian British accent. I'm like, man, all right. So we go get food. You know, we go eat at the Denny's, and then from the Denny's we walked over to their hotel. And my boy Ferg is like, man, he said, I'm about to smash, homie. I'm about to smash. And then him and her get on her bed, and they both just pass out.
Oh, I've been there.
And then I'm sitting there. I'm not even drunk. A friend, the one I thought, I'm like, I can't figure out if she's fat or not. She's not drunk. So we just started sitting there talking, and I'm like, well, shit. She's sitting on the bed. I'm on the bed. I don't want to keep talking. So I just say to her, I'm like, and this is kind of my famous line that I've used on quite a number of women. I'm like, are you a good kisser? So that's why I asked her, and she's like, why? I'm like, well, I'm just curious. I'm like, you know, we ain't got nothing else to do. I'm just curious. Are you? And she's like, yeah, maybe. She's like, but you'll never know. I'm like, well, why don't you show me? Are you scared? I said, I'm not scared.
Peer pressure.
You know? And then the next thing I know, and this has happened with every chick I pull this with, it goes from kissing to the next thing I know, they pulling up, they pulling off something.
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, yo, we went straight from 0 to 100. All right. And then she takes her clothes off, and I'm like, damn, you got a Coke bottle? Then I was looking, and I was like, why did I think she was fat? And then she had the biggest damn titties I've ever seen in my life with a Coke bottle. I'm like, okay, that makes sense now.
Speaking of bottles, take a swig for the working man.
Right. And then I had this other situation where, oh man, actually going back to the Australian chick, she was a freak. Mm-hmm. She wanted to smash. She was there for like 3 days, and she wanted to smash everywhere. She didn't care. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn. All right. Well,
as alluded to in the chat, ride that thunder down under.
Right. So this other time I had these I was in the club, and these 2 Russian chicks came up to me, and
Man,
they were.
Did you tell them to slow down?
Bro, I was a little scared because they were fine, and they were coming on real strong, like you know, making out with me and doing all kinds of stuff in the club, and then they're like, "Oh, we just gonna go back to our place, and we're gonna have fun with you." And I was like, at first I was like, I'm a little concerned, but I'm down for it. But they weren't speaking Russian; they were speaking English, like perfectly fine English. I get in the car, and I'm like, then I hear them talking to each other, but they're talking to each other in Russian.
Oh boy.
And then they would turn around, look at me, and smile, and I'm like, am I about to die?
Yeah, he's about to wake up with your kidney missing and shit.
Right? And then I'm like, well, where do you guys live? And they're like, oh, we live in Wahiwa. Mm-hmm. That's like
that doesn't sound made up at all.
No, that's bruh. So where I live now, I'm close to Waikiki, right? It's like 5 minutes away. Wahiwa from here is like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours away on the other side of the island. And where they were at, buses don't run. So I'm over here like,
you're taking a chance. You're taking a chance.
So we don't even get that far out of Waikiki, and I'm like, I said, look, can you just let me out the car? I'm like, I just realized I got to work in the morning. I said, I definitely would love to have fun with you, but yeah, I got your number. She's like, I didn't give you my number. I said, yeah, you did. You gave me it at the bar, but I'm gonna call you. Don't call me. I'm gonna call you. Y'all fine. We gonna have some fun. Just not tonight. I got to work.
Yeah.
And, bruh, they drove up the street and ended up picking up this other dude that was drunk who came from the club. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna see him again. I didn't see him again.
Word. Yeesh. Hey man, you escaped a sticky situation, but you also put somebody else in a stickier situation. You're like, sucks to be you, motherfucker.
Right.
I got, this is my ultimate story. This is This is the one that I would tell the new Marines whenever they came to me, because at the end of my career, I was an instructor at my MOS school. So the job that they trained me to do in the military, I went back to that place to become an instructor. So it's not so much a catfish, more like a betrayal. So
damn.
This is before I really started wilding out. The whole thing happened with the baby mama and everything. I came back and, I was alone and single for the first time in forever. I almost wanted to start singing Frozen. What was that, Frozen?
Oh, the Let It Go?
No, for the first time in forever. That's not Frozen.
Oh, yeah. Is it? Wait.
No, I don't think it's Frozen. I don't know. I'll get my movies mixed up. I had to pull up Disney Plus later. But so I was alone. I was without a relationship for the first time after the everything went down. So, that's when I first started going to the club. That's when I very first started going to the club. And I didn't do like a lot of the, people when they left their parents' house, they would drink illegally. I actually waited till I was 21 before I had my first drink. But at the same time, that wasn't by choice, because I was in motherfucking Iraq and I couldn't get alcohol when I turned 21. But anyway, so I go to the club, I meet this girl, and we dance. Since we made contact with each other, we danced that whole fucking night. From the time we locked eyes and started getting down on the dance floor, we danced till the fucking club lights came on and it was time to go. So it became a routine for me to go to the club and, just have a good time. If I came off something, I came off something. If I didn't, I didn't. And, I was just there to drink and have a good time.
Yeah.
So I was conditioned pretty much when the lights come on. Oh, that was it. And then I would zombie walk my ass to, to my homegirl house down the road and sleep it off and, go about my business the next morning. That was not uncommon for me. So this was the thing. We was on each other all night, just dancing, having a good old time. Club lights come on and I just like, doop, about to turn and walk out and shit and go about my business. And she grabbed me and she pulled me in and give me the most passionate kiss that I ever had in a long time. So I'm like, whoa. And we just danced. We didn't even exchange names. And then I was like, well, hello, my name is Rob. How are you? What is your name? And she's like, walk me to the car. I was like, all right, no problem. So we walk into the car and I'm drunk. And, I'm kind of slurring over my words, trying to talk to her, sound coherent. But I know in my head, I sounded great. Fucking sound like the Old Spice guy and shit. I have pearls and all kind of shit. But, what was actually coming out was, yo, shit. So we get to the car. And what I noticed, it was that year model, brand new BMW, cobalt blue. I remember that much about it. And I'm in the military and we in the military town. So, a lot of my warning bells didn't go off in this situation, because you figure if you mess with just about any female in this small ass town that's connected to this military base, they either somebody, wife, cousin, sister, somebody is affiliated with the military in this situation. So I'm looking at this car, and I got, like, damn, shit, nice. I'm bedazzled by the freaking, she might got some bread, man. She can buy me a PlayStation 2 or something. So we talking, and I'm looking at her dashboard, and on the dashboard, it was a picture of a Marine. So I totally ignored it. Like what I said, it could have been somebody, cousin, sister, somebody is affiliated with the military in some form or fashion here in this place. So I totally ignored it. She's like, here, take my number. Maybe she's like, I like how you dance and everything, because that's when I had mobility in my joints and shit. And we should come do this again sometime. I was like, all right, cool, no problem. So I think the week after, next weekend was coming up, I call her. And I was like, hey, you want to, this Rob, we met at the club, gave me a number. You want to go to the movies or something like that? She's like, you don't even know me. How you just want to take me to the movies? I was like, well, this is how I get to know you, by taking you to the movies. She's like, well, I ain't really feeling that. I want to go to the club. I like how you get down and whatnot. I was like, all right, cool. We can do that. So we go to the club, wasn't really feeling it and whatnot. So we left and went to motherfucking Waffle House. And this is when, I submitted my game down. It wasn't even so much trying to spit game or nothing like that. It was just telling her what happened to me. I joined the military. I got married young. I knocked this girl up twice. She cheated on me when I went on deployment, spent all my money, wrecked my car, giving her the sob story. I was like, I'm a single dad now. I got both of my kids with me. And, she's like, oh, I got 2 kids too. I was like, word, we got a play date. I was like, fuck, she got kids. I got kids, whatever. So, we just like, we kind of connected because of that, and it came to the crossroads. We left the Waffle House and everything. We get to the stop sign, left would take us to my house, right would take her home. So I was like, what you want to do? I can take you home. You can come by the house and chill or whatever. She's like, let's go to your house. Word. Take the left turn. Get to the crib and everything. And by this time, all I had been doing was going to the club, having fun, just living that lifestyle. I had not had any intimate contact with anybody after coming back from that deployment. So we get there, and I'm conditioned because my kids wasn't there at the time, not yet. But, I was so conditioned to, being with them and watching cartoons and shit. We was just in there watching Cartoon Network, fucking 3-4 o'clock in the goddamn morning and whatnot. And we just talking and chilling, and it was just more background noise. So my thing, you talk about how you had your little trick, you a good kisser. Well, my shit was like, your feet hurt. It's just like, why you ask? I was like, well, I was just simply inquiring, ma'am, if your job from day to day requires you to stand copious amounts of hours on your feet. And I was wondering if your feet were in pain. So boom, flip the shoes off, flip the socks off, get the baby all out the room, start rubbing them feet and whatnot. Rubbing the feet. And then I was like, what about your legs? Your legs hurt? She's like, yeah, they do. She had like capri pants. Like, I go up to the ankles. And I was like, well, I got all this oil and stuff and whatnot. And, I don't want to mess your pants up. So she just threw the motherfucking pants off. I was like, word, we here. Moving up the thighs and everything and whatnot. I said, I mean, you have told, because she didn't want to tell me where she worked at. But I was like, she told me that she stand a lot. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, so, I mean, if you do stand a lot, I mean, I'm pretty sure your back and everything is kind of bothering you, I mean, you're a woman, you have breasts. I mean, they're kind of large. So, you're going to have some back pain, I'm just saying, I'm trying to help you out. I can get the shoulders and everything, right? She's like, okay. So she rolled over on her stomach. I'm looking at them cheeks. Delicious. And, I'm working around her neck. The top of her neck and everything, and she still got her shirt and shit on. I was like, well, same thing. That's the thing. I don't want to mess your shirt up. I got all this baby oil on my hands and whatnot. Shirt come off. Whew. All right, cool. Rubbing the shoulders, rubbing the back, rubbing the shoulders. And I'm playing coy with the bra because I don't want to just outright take it off. So I'm going like up and around it and all kind of shit like that. And she just unsnapped, flew. throw the bra off. Word. So I'm on the back, just like, yeah, rubbing the wax on, wax off, all that shit, you know. And then, I'm getting down and rubbing the butt cheeks and all kind of things like that. And just la da 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 do 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 do. And I was like, well, let me go ahead and get the front. And she roll over, and then the titties roll over too. And here I am in the front, just working the boobs. Da, 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 da. And then it just it escalate from there because I'm rubbing them, touching them, rubbing them, I'm touching them and everything. And she started inching down the drawers. I was like, hold up. I just want you to know that I've been deployed for 7 months, and you are the first human contact that I've had since I've been back. I said, don't be expecting nothing spectacular because it's not going to be that. I'm just letting you know right now. Those were my words to her. She's like, it's cool. And then, things went down. So this is where we ramp up to the ultimate betrayal. So we've been kicking it ever since that moment. My kid came to stay with me later, and she got to know my kids, and I got to know her kids. Her kids played with my kids. And because I was single and I was broke, I didn't have a lot of money for daycare. So she would watch my kids while I go to work. Her fucking mom was braiding my daughter's hair and everything because I don't know how to do that shit. I got the man hands. I just grabbed a mess full of hair and bam, gone. So this was going on heavy since since that first initial night. And like I would see her every day. Her place was damn near my place because I was there so much. I met her brother and everything, and me and him was cool. We play fucking Xbox and PlayStation together and all kind of crazy shit. He dapped me up every time he see me or whatnot. So my dad came up to visit, and because he wanted to see the grandkids. And just like I said, I didn't have a cell phone or nothing like that. So I went to the store and everything. And when I came back, he's like, hey, some girl came by here and left you a note. I said, that's how we were with technology. We didn't have a phone. I mean, she came by the house and whatnot. So I read the note. She's like, come by the house tonight. I got a surprise for you. I was like, bet, beat them cheeks. So I get fly and everything. And I go to a place and everything. And I don't even knock no more because I'm there so much. I just walk in the motherfucker. So when I walk in the house, the scene was this. She wasn't even in the room. She was in the back somewhere. Her brother was sitting on the couch, and it was some dude sitting on the other couch that I'd never met before. Never seen in my goddamn life. There's, he was just there, so dap his brother up. And, anytime we interacted, me and her brother, he was cool. He was like, yo, dog, glad to see me and shit, But this time when I came there, he's like, yo, what's up? So, yo, what's up, baby? What's wrong? You cool? You straight? You just like, something was up, but, pussy blindness. I wouldn't even, I was ignoring all the telltale signs of something was amiss. So, I walk up to the other guy that I never seen before, in my Southern charm, I introduce myself. Hey, what's up? My name Rob. How are you? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, all right, cool. I'm such and such. I forget his name because things went awry shortly after. Cause like I finished shaking his hand. I introduced myself to him, and here she come out the back. So I turn to her, and it's like, love in my eyes. My eyeballs turn into hearts and shit. And there's golden light shining down on her. She walking toward me in slow motion, fucking doves flying out in the background and shit. And I reached my arms out to give her a hug, and she walked right past me and walked to this dude that I never met before and sit down on the couch next to him and give him a hug. And she's like, hey, Rob, I want to introduce you to my husband. So, okay, yo, what? So we got a savvy chat room in here. I mean, you've heard a lot of things. I mean, you may have heard of the term PTSD.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've personally experienced PTSD as it is related to combat situations and all kind of things of that nature. But in this moment, I was calm as fuck. Like on the outside, the exterior, I was just like, yo, okay, cool. It's just like, but on the inside, my shit snapped, dog. My shit was, I was like, what the fuck is this? How did I get myself? Because it was not my intention to be in this situation. I thought it was a me and her thing and whatnot. I met her fucking mom. Her mom babysitted my kids and did her hair and shit, So I thought we was on some other shit, and I'm like, yo, and I'm freaking out inside my head, but outside, calm as fuck. And like, I really believe I blacked out, like for real. Like I was just alone in my head with my thoughts and my body was moving on autopilot. Because at some point, we all wind up at the damn dinner table together eating. So she in the kitchen making food and shit, and I'm sitting there eating pork chops and green beans and shit. And the question come up, the golden question from him: how you meet my wife? And dog, before I can even fix myself to tell a lie, she fly out of the kitchen. Oh, I met him at the grocery store. He had these 2 young kids and everything, and he looked like he was having a hard time struggling and whatnot. And I'm not working and everything. So I thought it was cool that, I offer to babysit for me. He paid me this amount of money. And she had the lie crafted, already set. And I'm just sitting there with a lone green bean on my fork, like, yeah, what she said. Dog, and I'm like, and like I said, outside, calm as fuck, eating green beans and pork chops and shit. But inside, I'm like, fuck, because military don't play about that shit, dog. This is another, because after that, he's like, I was like, where you been, man? And he's like, yeah, I just got back from Iraq. So I was like, oh shit, so he in the military too. So that was the picture on the dashboard of that car when I first met her. That was him. And I was like, fuck. In the military don't play that adultery shit, man. And I was just like, man, he gonna snitch on me and I'm gonna get fucking demoted and locked up and taking money from me and shit, all because of some shit I didn't I wasn't trying to do. So I guess he was getting kind of antsy and everything. So she scoop him up and they go in the back. And they was back there for a while. So I don't know if they was fussing, fighting, fucking, or whatever the hell they was doing. But I took that as my opportunity to leave. So I got up and I was leaving. I was walking up the driveway and she come running out the house. She's like, Rob. And I was like, what? And she grabbed me by my arm and turned me around and she looked me dead in the motherfucking eyes. And I'm going to get close to the camera so you can see me with all seriousness. I got to bring the mic over here because it don't work like that. She looked me dead in my eyes. She's like, why you tripping? I was like, bitch, that's your husband. She's like, why you tripping? I'm like, why? Bruh. Why am I tripping? Dog, she was deadpan, dead ass, just like, why you tripping? Like I knew what this was, And she's like, so this is how it's gonna go down or whatever. You're gonna actually have to start paying me if I'm gonna keep babysitting for you. And I was like, word, you ain't even got to worry about that. I'll take care of this shit tomorrow. So I wake up the next morning, I'm banging on the daycare door like, help! I need some assistance. I need some daycare. So that was the one part of the betrayal. That was the one part. So I in hindsight,
one part.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much. This part is not so much betrayal, but like some shit went down after that. It was just like I was bringing the kids until I got the daycare set up. So I went there to give her money, actual money. And she's like, hey, I don't want to be able to babysit for you no more. I was like, understandable, no problem. I don't even want to be here right now. She's like, I found out I'm pregnant, and the doctor say it's high risk and whatnot. And I can't be doing around and messing with these kids and everything like that. And I was like, I've been here every day, fucking all the time, every time and everything. And I'm not going to lie. It was, I got comfortable there. I thought this was going to be the next thing that I was going to just be saddled with. And, we didn't use a condom all the time. So all this shit is going through my head and everything. And this was the last words I ever told to this girl, and I never seen her again. And this happened in 2003. I looked her dead in the face and I was just like, if you have anything you need to tell me, you know where I live, you have my phone number. Let me know. And I haven't seen her again since 2003. So he just got back. From the time she told me that, from the time me meeting him that night in that situation, that was less than a week. So I know she ain't a month pregnant in a week. And so, and I'm just like, I never heard from her again. And I seen him out in the wild somewhere. You know, I'm at the ATM drive-through and shit, and he just happened to pull up in another another teller lane and whatnot, and giving me the stank face.
Mm-hmm.
But in hindsight and everything, I don't think I have another little B-Rob running around out here in the wild anywhere. I think that was her way to get rid of me. She was telling me some shit to kind of like scare me and whatnot, because the dude that she said was her husband, they wind up not staying together. And this is how I knew she moved on, because many moons later, I hadn't seen her again, but there's a place specifically on base for when people get married. This is where they go to register and everything. So I also had to go there to check out, because I was leaving that duty station. I was going to another place, and that was one of the places I had to check out. So as I'm walking out, she walking in with a whole nother dude. So that's how I kind of figured she wasn't with the guy anymore. So, and she walking this other simp inside this building to do some other shit, So I walked a long way when I caught her from afar. We didn't lock eyes and then, so I walked all the way around, and I was like, damn, she moved like that. So yeah, that was the ultimate betrayal.
So I just gotta ask this. It's real important question. Was the pussy good?
Oh hell yeah, no doubt. It was good enough for me to sit there and watch Biker Boys on loop consecutively for 3 days, back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Because the DVD it came on, we watched it, and then we go do DVD and chill, because there was no Netflix. And then that bitch would just come on over and over and over again. We just be sitting there watching Biker Boys all motherfucking weekend. That's how I come to hate that movie. Never seen it again since then.
Shit, I got a similar story then. Shit, we no, well, not about Biker Boys, but about a chick. Okay. So, see, what had happened was.
What had happened? Merchandise and capitalize on this shit.
So what had happened was, there's this chick.
With the horns. Remix.
So shout out to everyone who's coming into this live stream podcast, Squall Shade, Zero Rogue, everyone out there. Thank you guys for coming through. So what had happened was,
before you go, was Squishy Shade, whatever your name is. This is live. We're going right now. I just read your comment, so that tells you that we're live.
So what happened was, there's this chick that I met at the club back in the day. I think this is like, was it 2010 at Zanzibar, same club. So I met her, and off the bat, she was like, I'm married. I'm just here with my girlfriend. I'm not trying to do anything. She put the front up. And here's the thing I've learned with a lot of women. Even if they say they marry, and there's exceptions to this rule.
Yeah.
But you can pull anybody, even the ones that say they married. So when she said that, in my head, I'm over here like, well, all right, well, I'm like, all right, so we'll see, whatever. So I ignored that, and I started talking to her friend, because I stopped giving her attention. I was giving her friend attention. And so, for like 3 or 4 weeks, every time I go out to the club, I'd see her and her friend, right? And then there was this one time where she got shit faced.
Mm-hmm.
And her friend was like, I'm going in a whole different direction. Can you drive her home?
Yep. That was the alley oop. And you was like, dunk.
so I went and I drove her home, and I took her back to her place. She was living on a military base.
Hello.
So
Welcome to the club.
I asked her, I was like, wait, is this your house? She's like, no. Like, whose house is it? She's like, well, I'm staying with family here.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, but where's your husband? She's like, I don't have a husband. I just said that because I thought you were just a fuck boy that was coming up to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay. Well, so I drove her there, walked her in the house, and she's like, I just need to lay down. And she's like, can you go give me water? So I went in her kitchen. The house is huge. So I went in the kitchen, got her water, came back, gave it to her, and I'm just sitting on the couch, and I'm like, well, I need to go. I guess I need to go home. She's like, well, I'll drive you back when I sober up a little bit. I was like, okay. So I'm sitting there, and she lays on me, like puts her head on my shoulder, and I'm over here like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, okay. And then next thing I know, she just starts like rubbing on my other shoulder, and then she starts kissing me, and then I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yeah.
See,
So then
I like that. You ask consent.
right. Bruh, I had to. It was just something in my head was like, you sure? She's like, yeah. So we ended up fucking all over that damn house.
And see,
And
he was straightforward with it, whatever. Anytime I had my interludes and everything. See, I don't even say fucking or nothing, sex. I just like beat cheeks. There's a euphemism for everything. He's just like, I was fucking, you're rude bastard, you.
so ended up going to the bedroom, finishing up there. Lights was off. I didn't see nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wake up next day, and she's like, what happened? I was like, what do you mean what happened? She said, why are we in bed together?
Because you gave me permission.
I'm like, you initiated it. She's like, I'm married. I'm like, you just said you weren't married. She's like, oh, but I am.
Look.
And then she she turned the blinds so the light was shining in the room. And she's like, that's my husband. And she pointed to the picture of her and him. And I'm like, wait, so this is your house? She's like, yeah. I was like, fuck. I'm like, yo, is he? I'm like, what's his name? She's like, his name is Tyrone. I was like,
oh, she called Tyrone.
So I'm like, yo, I need to, I'm trying to book it. She's like, oh, he's deployed.
See, that's dog. That's that shit, man. You go off to freaking fight for the freedoms of everybody in the state, and your girl fucking around while you daggone doing work. Sad story,
dude. And the crazy thing is, like, I know so many women, and it's so bad. Like, just my one homeboy, Howard, his chick. I've tried to tell him, I'm like, dude, you need to drop that slut. Like, drop your chick. He won't do it. He's like, man, I love that girl. I'm like, bro, please. Because there's so many of my military homies, and they get these women that they meet at the club, and the minute they deploy, the bitches be out. And
see, and the thing about it is not so much, say your boyfriend and girlfriend, and one of you in the military, you go off and do things, and the other person cheat. That's cool. It's whatever. I mean, there's no real bond there, but the sticky shit is like what you saying, when the motherfucker is married and they got kids and a life together and shit, and that's when shit get a little tricky.
Yeah.
That's crazy shit. That boyfriend girlfriend bullshit. I don't take stock in all that crap.
Yeah.
But like, damn, you talking about married, like you did vows and you went to the courthouse and got documents and shit. That's some serious shit. And to even backtrack a little bit about the girl I just told you about, damn, other than that one picture in that dashboard, this is more for the chat and everything, and for your essay. Damn, you would think when you go to a married person's house, because like that girl showed you the picture, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
in her house.
Mm-hmm.
I was at this lady house all the time, every time, butt naked and clothed, and there's not a picture of this dude in sight all over the fucking house. So what am I to think, you know? And then because like even if there was a picture of him in the house or whatnot, other than the one in the dash, but that night, I mean, it was like I'm outside the car, it's in the dashboard, you know. Am I really staring at it and analyzing the motherfucker face? I'm drunk. I don't care. You know?
Right.
But to be in her house like I was, to where I could just walk in this bitch, no knocking or nothing. There was not a picture of this guy. For me to meet her motherfucking mama, dog, and she married. And nobody say nothing. You know? So that's crazy, right? That's fucking crazy. You know, treachery is afoot. You know, and we can only talk about women because we men or whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure a hell of a lot worse happened to fucking women as well.
Right. It's something else. And I know this whole show was supposed to be about us talking about entrepreneurship and podcast, but you know what? His name is Rob, and he has the Random Ramblings with Rob, and we just went on a random rambling with
Yeah.
Rob.
I mean, it happened like that sometimes.
Oh man, like I do. I feel like we could talk about this all day because I got stories. I know you got more crazy stories you can tell, but it and it happens. It happens with in the military. It happens both ways for men and for women.
Mhm. And then I mean, I can only speak to the military stuff because I was in the military for 16 years. So I mean, I've experienced it personally on a personal level. And I've seen, my fellow service mates go through the same thing, male and female. And that's what I enjoyed most about being an instructor at the end of it, because I got them when they first joined, when they fresh and they haven't, experienced a lot of stuff. And I can tell them same stories that I just told you and what happened to me when I was a young PFC, Lance Corporal, and all the other bullshit starting out in the military. Because I had a decent leadership, but I felt like I could have, I could have been in a better place in my military career if I had people to step up for me and kind of guide me. Because it was a lot of trial and error on my own. And, I found out shit from other people rather than my leadership and whatnot. And when I was in a position to be a leader, anybody that was under me, I was trying to give them as much information that I could. And if I didn't know the information that they asked for, I'm making my priority to find that information to give to them, because I didn't want them to be, left out like I was.
Yeah.
And that was great because, like, I didn't have anybody to tell me, like, hey, man, don't go to this car lot and get this damn car and they'll hit you with a 24% APR and all kind of other crap on your loan. And you paying $500 fucking dollars a month for a daggone freaking $10,000 car and shit. So, yeah. And, I didn't have that. So I made it my point to make sure the Marines and everything under me had that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you're paying it forward.
And it was fun to tell them all these stories that, like I just told you, and see their reaction and stuff. Because my first question to them would be like, how many of you are married? You have the onesies and twosies or whatever. And then how many of you are planning on getting married? And you see a couple of hands go up, and I pull them to the side. I was like, hey, dog, this is what happened to me. Blah, 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 blah. I got married right out of high school, got a girl pregnant, this and this. And this is how it fell apart for me. Now, I'm not wishing that on you. I'm not saying that it's going to happen to you. But I want you to have that in the back of your mind, because we play a dangerous game. We here one moment and then we gone somewhere else doing some other shit. And you expect somebody, your age, to be patient and deal with that shit all the time, it's not too likely. And you can
Yeah.
wind up in a lot of heartbreak and whatnot. And I would break it down to them just like that, dog. Because, I looked at them as my kids. I do the same with my kids here. I was like, dog, I've been there. I've been in that situation. I've been that age before. This is what happened to me. And I don't want that to happen to you. Your kids are kind of different in a way because, like, you want them to kind of make some mistakes, but you don't want them to make them fucking big life-changing mistakes. So you got to stay on their ass about shit.
Yeah.
And I would do the same thing with my junior Marines. I'd be like, hey, man, look out for this, and this, and this. If you have a question about anything, let me know, and we'll work the shit out. Because I don't want to see you fucking up out there, and then I got to do paperwork. And, put you on restriction in the barracks and shit, and you gonna be looking out the window sad and shit while all your friends go out and get drunk and shit. So I really enjoyed that. I believe I've been in 16 years. I've been into a couple duty stations, and other than Beaufort, South Carolina, I think that last duty station that I was in Missouri, even though the place sucked, the best duty station, because I got to grow as a mentor. I got to lead Marines the way I wanted to do it. And, they gave me the tools that I needed that kind of transitioned into podcasting. Because, even though I was in the military for so long, I was definitely afraid of public speaking. Like, get up in front of a group of people and, recite, material. That was my fear, because I pushed myself so hard to try to remember the shit, and I don't want to flub it and fuck it up and everything. And I would have like anxiety about that shit, trying to teach people some shit. But when I went to Missouri, they put me through classes and everything. They taught me how to teach, and it broke that nervousness away from me and whatnot. And then you get into a repetition because you got to teach classes every fucking week and every other day, and you got all this training and whatnot. The practice was what got me over that fear. And I feel like, given anything, I could stand in front of any amount of people, and I could just talk shit about anything and not even be rattled by it, because they broke me of that. And I am so fucking appreciative of that, because like I get opportunities like this to be on somebody else's show, and I could just, I'm all over the place. I can give you anything, man. I don't give a fuck, and not even be worried about it. To where if you would have caught me before that instance, I've been like, you've been like, hey man, what's your favorite color? I'd be like, red. What was that? Red. That's the conversation we would be having right now. You'd be asking me questions, because I know you go through it as an interviewer and a content creator, to where like you get that one motherfucker, you be like, hey man, what you think about this? Oh, it's cool. And so that's the hard part about this thing, because like we've been all over the place. We've been talking for damn near 2 hours, and it all started with the introduction.
I know, right?
And here we are. But like other people, they need to be led sometimes. It's like, hey man, what did you think about this? It was cool. Well, why you think it was cool? Because I mean, I think this about it, and you give them a couple of examples and everything for them to think about. And well, I never thought about it like that, but I like it because of this, and that's how you build the conversation. You get motherfuckers talking. Because I can remember episode number 11, J Guns. I don't know if that's the right number, but the title of the episode is J Guns. It was a dude I work with, and we worked together every day. And when I started this podcast, I never knew what his side hustles was, but I knew I wanted to talk to him because I figured out he was in the motorcycle club, and I wanted to know more about that and everything, how, you even get into something like that. So we went there, and this dude, DJ, he fucking sell clothes. He do all this shit, outside of the military, but to even get to all that information, it was like, hey man, what do you think about this? He's like, oh yeah, it was straight. Well, why? Tell me why. And then I could talk to him more freely because I knew him, and he was my subordinate. He worked under me. So I'm like, it was more like, well, motherfucker, tell me why, don't be sitting up, and I could talk shit to him. I was like, don't be sitting up. I mean, because he went through the same training as me as an instructor. So I know he has this in him to teach classes and shit. So I know he know how to talk to an audience. I was like, motherfucker, and I'm quoting like some of the freaking school training and shit we got. You know the with them. What's in it for me, motherfucker? Tell me what's going on. And I'm just fucking with him, and it opened him up a little more, and we had a better conversation after that point because he wasn't being like, yeah, it's cool. He's sitting up there talking like Shaq and shit. Harrison Ford and this bitch, Han Solo, got Indiana Jones. But yeah.
So let's talk podcasting, man. Like, how long have you been in the podcast game, and what have been some of the ups and the downs and the fuckery and all the other stuff in between?
Okay, so January 13th this year, 2020, makes 4 years.
Okay.
Some of the ups and downs is like I pass this curse down to my children. When they get fixated on something, they all about that one thing. And, my boy has that with video games and other types of media and whatnot. He's just like all about that shit to where it'll get him in trouble. And when I find new things, that's how I am in the beginning, because like it's new, it's fresh, and I want to learn as much as about it. I want to try to get good at it, and I'm just like all in about it to where like I can't be like my kids because their only responsibility is school and keeping their room clean and all this other stuff. But me as an adult, I'm a fucking father. I got to go to work. I got to pay bills and shit. So I can't just be focused in on this one thing like that and neglect all the shit around me, because that's problematic. When I first started podcasting, that's what it was. I got into it and tried to figure out the technology behind it and how to post into places and get it into other places and whatnot, to where like I was ignoring some of my responsibilities around the house, and I got in trouble with my wife behind that shit. So year one was the hardest year. Not so much me trying to learn the podcast, because I was getting a good grasp about it. The shit that it was doing around me, hey, I told you to go do this. Oh fuck, I'm sorry, I forgot I was doing the podcast shit. Oh, did you go do such? I was doing I'm sorry, I had the podcast, and I was placing that priority rather than other things, and that was creating the problems and shit. So once I realized what I was doing to the people, the area around me, I corrected that. And once I got through that and everything, it was more of, all right, my whole premise was to interview people that I work with, people in the military, people that have been through some of the same things that I've been through, and tell their fucked up stories like I've been doing all night pretty much. So once I separated from the military, I didn't have that well anymore. I didn't have people that I work with on a normal anymore to interview and talk and bullshit with anymore. So that I started reaching out to random people and other podcasters and everything, and made it more of a variety show. So year two was more of trying to grasp that and meeting other podcasters and networking with them and being on their shows and trying to get the word out about me and lure in other guests. Year three, this past year, the year before was like, I'm picking up steam. I'm getting the hang of this shit. I'm getting Miguela and all these other motherfuckers and everything. I mean, I'm not saying motherfuckers in a disrespectful tone or manner, because that's just how I talk. Everybody's
it's a Southern thing.
Yes. So it's just like, how black people use the N-word, I use motherfucker in its place, because I don't say the N-word.
I don't either. Yeah. And a lot of people find it so odd. And it's, it was actually funny. I said this last night on my on the stream I did with my friend Nick Ricada. I said to him, I said here again, I've heard the N-word used more out here in Hawaii by non-black people than I ever have when I was in the ghetto. Yeah. And it's mind-boggling.
And that's crazy. This is like, even like in music and here, like in Houston, this is a fucking melting pot, dog. Everybody is here because it's on the verge of being the third largest city in the fucking United States.
Mm-hmm.
But there's everybody here, but the majority of population is Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
So they're so interwoven in all the neighborhoods, the rich, poor, and everything, to where they get in good with us, and I hear them saying the N-word more than we saying the N-word. And I don't anybody period should be saying the N-word, but if somebody gonna say the N-word, I'd rather it be one of us, But I didn't know better when I was a kid. I thought it was just, part of the hip hop culture. When I was finding music and rap and everything, that was just a word people said. And then my father made me sit down and watch Roots. And I got a little more educated, and when I joined the military, that's a no as well. No racism. You can't say that shit. I mean, even if it is used as a term of endearment, it's not allowed, because it's putting down and demeaning another race, and that's not allowed, So joining the military shook that out of me. And just, getting older and everything, I was like, what's the use for this word anyway? I could just, I don't need to say it. Because it's almost like, when you say what had happened, I get on people for that shit, especially my kids, because they put had in places that it doesn't belong. So we had went to the store. Motherfucker, you didn't had do shit. You just went to the store. You didn't have to put had in that sentence. And it's just that's how I feel about the N-word. So me and Mike had we was playing the Xbox. I was like, no, motherfucker, you and Mike was playing the Xbox. Had does not have to be in that sentence at all. And I hear people, adults, 40s, 50s and everything, using had like that, and it irks the fuck out of me, man. I'm just like, you didn't have to put had. My mom says that shit. My mom's 78 years old. And I went down there this past weekend, and she was like, oh, she was talking about my daughter. She's like, Cam did this, and this. I was like, and I couldn't correct it because that's my mama. Like, you didn't had do shit. She did this, and this. Because whenever somebody say had is used in the past contents or whatever. So it happened in the past. Mm-hmm. But when you say the other words in the sentence, all those sentences you in the context is talking about the past. So had is not needed at fucking all. And to answer the Shade's question in the chat, I was deployed 4 times. The first 3 times was to Iraq, and the last time, my very last deployment in 2013, was to Afghanistan. So yeah, that was a delayed and everything.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, what are the things that you tried as far as podcasting that didn't work and was a bad idea? That's one of the questions we got in the chat from Rogue Dragon 5.
Go ahead, man. That's for you.
It's an open forum, man. You a host. You here too? I don't know. I mean, I don't have a format to my show per se, but in the beginning, the way I would set it up is because all my stuff is pre-recorded. So if you hear any of my episodes, they're pre-recorded. I stack them and everything because outside of the podcast, I have a fucking life. I work 12 hours a day, just about every day. So I have to do it like this. I can't do too many live stuff and everything unless I set time aside to do that. But what I used to do earlier on was I would do the setup and the intro before the podcast. So I was like, yo, what's up to everybody? This your boy B-Rob. And, my guest today is freaking Mekel Kasanova. And we're going to daggone talk about this and this. We went through a little some of this. And, yeah. And then I would just go on a fucking rant about just other crazy shit. I would have like my own little podcast before the podcast started actually. So, and that's how it was in the beginning. And then I would play the interview that I recorded. And then I would come on at the end. Hey, this was the show. Here's my social media. And I was out of that bitch. But some of the feedback I was getting was man, you talk a lot, man. I just want to get to the interview and shit. So what I did and what I currently do is I just introduce the guest. I'm like, hey, welcome to the Random Rams of Rob. You know, blah 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 blah. You heard the intro. You was a guest, and I would introduce the guest, and we were just starting to the podcast. Then after the interview was over, I'd be on the back end of the show. Hey, man, that was my guest, and I would kind of give a brief summary. I would inform people about what I got going on next, and maybe the guest that's coming on next week, and so on and so forth. And that's how I would end the show. But doing it that way is like, okay, I do it that way because I pre-record, and the interview is like current for that week. And when I do the outro, it's more like that's current, because I could do an interview today's the 23rd, so I can do an interview January 19th. It'll air the 23rd, which is today, and my intro will be current as of the 23rd. I mean, my outro will be current as of the 23rd, if that makes any sense. So the content is old, but my message, and when I'm talking to you and I'm explaining things, is current. That's how I do my thing. So what I found out by putting all that stuff at the end, once the interview is over, a lot of people tune out. Just like, well, I heard what I wanted to hear, and the show's over. I don't need to hear the rest of the shit at the end of the show. So that's kind of where I am. So like, if I put it in the front, they kind of fast forward through it and go to the interview. And if I put it in the back, it's like, oh, the interview's over. I don't need to hear the rest of this shit. So I mean, that's just kind of like the weird area that I'm in right now. But yeah, that was kind of like, as far as ideas of what I had, I feel like that didn't work. It pertains more to a secondary podcast that I do, Wrestling is Trash. And I got all this crazy shit going on to where I wanted to be different from any other wrestling podcast that I personally listen to. And I had an idea. You ever heard of the Money in the Bank, right? So I had an idea. Anytime doing the wrestling podcast, I could hit the button.
Surprise, motherfucker.
So somebody would cash in their promo in the bank. So what that would do is like, all right, it's me, you, and another person doing the wrestling show. I cash in on you, and I was like, your task is to cut 1 minute promo on why brown shoes is the best fucking dress shoes ever. So that was me cashing my promo in the bank in on you, and you had to just make up a promo right there on the spot for a minute about why brown shoes is the best freaking dress shoes. So what would happen, and why I said that didn't work, I mean, it was fun as fuck, but you get so into the conversation of the show that you forget about that shit. You forget to cash in on the motherfucker, and then like, so it kind of went away. But I mean, we still reference it and everything because of the bulk of the episodes is only 42. We did that in the beginning. And then also when we had new guests to the wrestling show, we would ask them to explain how they got involved in wrestling, like how they come across it, how they, became a fan of it. And then we would do a section in the show called Waterfall Mania, to where we focus on our lady professional wrestlers. And we tell everybody why we adore them so much and why they're our favorite female professional wrestler. And we just kind of get into that. We got the sexy music playing in the background, which you may hear right now. And we just get into that particular female wrestler. So that's Waterfall Mania. And that all came about Waterfall Mania, that phrase, because I was on the show as a co-host for another wrestling podcast. And every time we talked about a female wrestler, we talk about the wet area, the moist. And I think we was doing the episode around WrestleMania, and I just said some random shit. I was like, yeah, man, we talking about that wet. That's that Waterfall Mania. And it stuck for the show. And I just been running with it ever since. So anytime we have a section where we talk about a female wrestler, is Waterfall Mania, which you can purchase on randomrob.com/merch. You can get that on a hat. You can get that on a shirt. Get some stickers. Post them up on your wall in your favorite Walmart.
Okay, so we got to talk about that, man. Though you got to tell the audience about the Walmart
Walmart
blogs. Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of ties into the podcast as well. I mean, it's a vehicle and a gimmick for the podcast. So back when I was retiring from the military, well, I made the decision to retire from the military. I was stuck out there in bumfuck Missouri, and the biggest establishment there was Walmart. They had nothing else other than outside of food places and everything. But the biggest establishment that they had there on that particular area, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, hashtag fucking Waynesville, Missouri, hashtag St. Roberts, Missouri, because back in the day, when it was a freaking settlement and shit, St. Roberts and goddamn Waynesville didn't get along, so they just split the goddamn town in half and made it half St. Roberts, half fucking Waynesville in the same goddamn area, and just like, fuck it. That is just what it is. It's an hour and a half away from St. Louis. It's an hour and a half away from Springfield, Missouri. It's just in the middle of the fucking armpit of goddamn Missouri. And which is ironic and funny because there's an actual city not too far from what I call the armpit of Missouri called Devil's Elbow. Devil's Elbow, Missouri. And we call this place the armpit. So it's like here and Devil's Elbow is there. But I had nothing to do, literally. So anytime we would go to the grocery store, it would be Walmart. Anytime we needed supplies, it's more than likely from Walmart. Because everything else was just too far to fucking go to. So when I was transitioning out, I had a lot of off time. I wasn't really going to work because I was checking out and, you know, getting my affairs in order to move from Missouri. And so when I was at home, I just would go to Walmart. And what really started the Walmart logs was I would listen to certain podcasts. The particular one was the Mixed Feelings podcast, which isn't around anymore. But the ladies on there was talking about their grievances with Walmart. She's like, yeah, I went there and this happened and I hate it or whatever, which none of that stuff would ever happen to me personally while I was at Walmart. So all the things they would bitch and complain about, I went to Walmart specifically to do those things that they were bitching and complaining about just to fuck with them. So they're like, yeah, I hate when people leave carts out in the middle of the aisle. So I videotape myself leaving carts out in the middle of the aisle on purpose just to fuck with them for their podcast. And then I was on another podcast called Horribly Awkward with Sean Fuller, and another podcast I listened to called Ice in the Face, to where we was all together talking, and they was talking about the same thing. You know, people grabbing the carts with their bare hands and everything. You know, so many people grab carts and there's germs and all kind of stuff. And they got some flimsy ass wipes that they give you to wipe the, you know. So I went in there the next day and I grabbed the cart with my bare hand and I emphasized, I was like, oh, look, I'm grabbing this cart with my bare hands. So many germs just to fuck with them, you know. And, you know, and I just kept doing it because one, I had nothing to do. And I thought the shit was funny. So, I mean, that's kind of where the Walmart log, that's the origins of it. That was way back year one of the show. And I just been doing it ever since. I mean, and I genuinely love Walmart. That's the other side of it. I mean, I enjoy going to Walmart. Where else can I go get goddamn weed killer, diapers, and goddamn fucking, I don't know, asparagus from? All in one place. Dog, no lie, I give you that weird combo. And this is what happened to me. I was still, you know, many months later, I met my wife. We got married. And of all places, all the shenanigans that happened to me with relationships and women and stuff happened in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I got stationed again after I got married back in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So I'm in Walmart. And I'm in there. I actually had some weed killer that day, some diapers, because my youngest daughter was still a baby, and something else. And I'm walking around, and I love professional wrestling. So I'm looking at the electronics. I'm in the electronics section, and they playing old Ric Flair matches on all the TVs in there. And they got like a little table set up and everything with some Coke advertisements and whatnot. So I'm looking around. I was like, oh shit, they playing wrestling. Let me check this match out. Who is this? And I asked the guy, he was standing around. I was like, what's going on here, man? He said, oh yeah, Ric Flair gonna be up in here. I was like, word? Like for real? Like in person, not on the TV screen? He said, yeah, he's gonna be here signing autographs. I was like, okay. And usually when, a wrestler come do signings and shit, that you got to pay for that. I was like, yeah, well, okay, how much is that? He's like, nah, it's free. Word? So conveniently, I lived around the corner from Walmart. I left my weed killer and diapers and all the other bullshit right there in the electronics section. I went home, and this was around when Ric Flair was doing shit with TNA. So I had a TNA program from a live show I went to with his picture in it. And he was handing out 8x10s there that he was signing. And when I was in South Carolina, North Carolina area, he had his own set of lottery tickets. And I bought one on the strength that, it was fucking Ric Flair on a lottery ticket. So I brought all that shit back to Walmart with me. And I stood in line with motherfucking Ric Flair there in a Walmart randomly with no warning. And I got all that shit signed. So here in my house somewhere, it's still in the box. I got a Ric Flair lottery ticket signed by Ric Flair. I got TNA Impact freaking program with Ric Flair's picture that's signed. And I got another 8x10 for one of my other friends since I was there. I mean, because it was so sporadic and random that nobody knew about this shit. And I just got signed like 3 or 4 times. I got shit signed because it was like really not too many people there. And Ric Flair gave me a little bit of knowledge. He was just like, yeah, I signed some of these lottery tickets before, but you have to scratch them because if you sign the top part, the ink won't stick. So you have to scratch them before I can sign them. So I was like, word. Thanks, Ric Flair. Woo. And I walked away with my weed killing diapers and shit.
Bruh, so Rogue Dragon, he asked, what's his question? He said, will you two had another get together? Will you two have another get together with more stories of sex, love, booze, and debauchery? Because I'll be there for that shit.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm always down for the debauchery. Because I mean, I've told you the main highlights of my escapades and everything. I ain't tell you about all the minor excursions and all the shit that I've been through. So I'll save that for another bag.
Oh man, is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we go? Because I know it's late where you at. Now I don't want to keep you from your family too long.
Oh, I mean, well, it's bedtime, so the kids are sleeping. My wife is probably now at this time getting ready to leave work, so I'm good. But we will wrap up because I still need to wash my balls. I came straight home from work to sit here and jibber jabber with you, my man, because you're worth it. You're worth my ball sweat. But yeah, man, just if you're a young cat, if you in the range of 18 to 25, be careful. That's all I need to say. I mean, I'm all about, talking with anybody, man. If you just need some advice, you want to pick an older brain, because I'm 37 now. Next month, well, in 2 months in March 29th, which I'm trying to reach 100 reviews on the Apple Podcast. You can help out with that. That'll be my birthday present from you. Yeah, I'll be 38 here pretty soon. So I got a little bit of knowledge. I'm a 2-time loser in the realm of marriage. So this is my second marriage. I got 3 kids, 2 from another marriage and 1 with my current wife. So I have some insight on some of that shit, So I'm here for you. And if you're an inspiring podcaster, I can't speak too much to the realm of content creation as far as YouTube and all that stuff, because I'm still a novice. I mean, you can revert. Oh, let's see. Hold on. My camera is pointing. You're on this side on my camera. So I revert that to Mekel. You can talk to him about the YouTube side and all that stuff. But if you want to know anything about podcasts in the audio format, hit your boy up. You can find me on Twitter at 3RShow. You can find me on Instagram at the 3RShow. You can find me on Facebook, and you can go to randomrob.com and hit the contact button or whatever, and I'll chop it up with you. I'll give you some guidance. I give you what I know, and if I don't know something, I'll direct you to somebody who knows it.
Yep. And links to everything, people, is going to be down in the description below. But I lied. I have one final question for you.
Yeah, let me know.
Did you have fun?
You're fucking right. Hit the horn.
Oh man, bro, we got to do this again. We got to do this again soon.
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, you got my calendar. You know what my schedule looking like.
All right, people, you'll be able to catch this episode of the Kasanova podcast as you're watching it live. You can also catch it on all the podcasting outlets that you see down below. I got to read them off because it's right in front of me. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeart, Pandora. We don't fuck with Twitch, but we own YouTube too. So with that being said, people, make sure you go and just follow Rob on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook.
Yeah,
he's everywhere.
He's
in Walmart. So catch him there
daily, every day.
And he's also he's got a phenomenal podcast. I highly recommend it. I mean, I'm shocked you didn't plug Hook, Spice, and Ribs and Blue Chew.
Well, I can. I mean, you kind of butchered it a little bit, so I do have to rebound it and revive it. So, I mean, I am sponsored. I have a couple of sponsors. One being Hooks, Rubs, and Spices is a seasoning and a rub for your meats. You put meat in your mouth and you just roll it around your tongue and across your throat and everything and down into your stomach. So, I mean, if you want some dope ass seasoning on that, you can go to hooksrubsandspices.etsy.com and you can get 15% off your order with the promo code RANDOM. Also, Poddex. And you a content creator, or you're thinking about being a content creator and you don't really know what questions you want to formulate for your guests to create that conversation, that spark. You can go to poddex.com and they have cards that'll help you move that conversation along and whatnot. You can get 10% off your order if you use promo code RANDOM. Hold on, this is where we hit the sensual music in the background. Let me set this up for you. I gotta use my gravitas and whatnot. I know we done spoke about a lot of intimate things here, me fucking fat bitches. See, I done seep down into the realm of Mekel Kasanova to where I'm talking about fucking actually. When I would give you innuendo before, I would say beat cheeks, adult time, intimacy and whatnot. But now we talking about fucking right now while the intimate music is on. So, fellas, because they ain't got shit for the ladies right now, but fellas, if you're having a little bit of confidence issue down in your lower region and whatnot, I'm talking about below the belly button, not the man pouch, not the pelvis region, but the dick, pretty much. If you're having a little bit of problem with that, or you just lacking that confidence, Blue Chew can hook you up. Go to bluechew.com and you use that promo code, you guessed it, RANDOM, and you can get your first order for free. Only pay $5 shipping. I mean, the shipping is separate from the actual product, but the product is free, but you have to pay $5 for the shipping. And that'll get your dick right and left and down the middle, maybe even from the back if she's willing to do it. So bluechew.com, get your dick right for the night. I just made that rhyme up. They should sponsor me. Oh, they do. I told you, use my promo code RANDOM. Get your first order free. And see. Oh, shit. Hey, also unofficially sponsored by Caprizio Sangria. This little bottle that you see right here has a 13.9% alcohol volume by content.
Man.
And it's delicious. Sponsor me. You can use promo code random on their website, but you won't get shit.
With that being said, people, Rob and I are signing out. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Hey, did you enjoy this episode of the Kasanova podcast? Well, I'm sure you did. And since you did, and you're wondering where else you can find it on every podcasting outlet. Yes, that includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Launchpad DM by Podcast One, and so much more. And the only thing I ask of you is if you truly enjoyed it, even if you didn't enjoy it, please leave a rating and tell us what you thought of it, what you like, what you didn't like, and everything in between. And also, if you're looking for video formats of this podcast and many more, you'll be able to find them on youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova, as well as on twitch.tv/Mekel Kasanova, and new episodes every single Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, with that being said, this is Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber. I am signing out. You guys have a great one.